We have a cast iron clawfoot tub, and it kind of looks like, this is just drawing a side of it. It curves around like this, and then we have a wall on one side, and we don't really have a place to put soap. So I would like to make a little soap dish that goes kind of like this. Maybe like one piece of wood out, and my theory is, because this curves down in this, the distance from the wall to there is 1 3/8 inch, and the distance from the kind of the furthest out of the tub, the top, is 1.5 inches. So if I can get something that, this is like the piece, the points of contact. So this will be flush against the wall, so that will have moment and force going back and forth. Well, this will be touching at just one point, so that will just kind of have force going back and forth. So if I can just make something that is exactly this 1 3/8 inch width, I think it would work to keep it steady. So I have this piece of wood, which I think it will be the shelf, and this is another piece of scrap cedar we just had around, that I think of finding some good parts of it to make the kind of the parts going down. So I'm going to need to cut it into slightly smaller pieces. And I'm using cedar because it doesn't rot it's very resistant to rot. So the next step, because I want this to be a nicely finished product, is planing each of these sides. And I will be cutting up this further into smaller pieces, but while it's a large piece, it'll be easier to plane. Well, the edges are pretty easy to plane in this vise. You can't do the side, so I've set up this little clamp with this block to prevent this clamp from indenting, which it does without that. One problem is I've jammed my thumb a couple times when I was doing this earlier. After looking around upstairs at the bathtub again, I've decided that it really will be a lot of effort that really isn't necessary to make it the width, and that just putting these in with this board like attached, kind of like this, should be enough for it to work. So I've decided to only use one of these, and not because it's any harder to make another one. I have a piece cut up, I just need to sand it, and that takes only a minute or two. It's just, this isn't a very heavy-duty job, so I really just don't think it's needed. The next step is drilling holes in this for this one to attach by screws. And a little bit of countersinking. Screwing these in. And I haven't drilled pilot holes in this block because I want to get a strong grip, but once I get through this with both of these, I'll start screwing it in there. And it works well. So this is going back to where I started this video off, and this was how I was kind of expecting. I wanted a flat shelf, and that's how I wanted it. And when I was thinking why I needed this width was, I guess I was expecting there to be a lot more weight on this side. I was expecting it to like come out really far, so it would go like this, and I needed to make sure it didn't like topple off or make it a soap dish slide into the bathtub, because the bathtub's over here and the wall is over here. But what actually is happening is it's coming in like this and tilting inward, so I'm actually kind of glad I have it as it is, because I do think the slight tilt inward is good, and it's a little bit less than this is showing. I just don't know the exact dimensions. But what I could have done to make it flat, if I had realized that that was going to happen, would be, instead of having this here, I could have attached it in such a way like that, so when it was trying to tip that way, it would catch right away, or somewhere in the middle to have a lesser tilt. But overall, I think it's a really good, useful shelf.